Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator, and today we are talking about the WingFlex Airbus FCU. Now I know we just took a look at the WingWing FCU panel, but this one offers something significantly different in the aspect of quality and overall design. So stick around you guys, because there's a lot to talk about with this one, especially when it comes to the price. If you are interested in acquiring any of my Overkill's tutorial guides from Microsoft Flight Simulator, or simply interested in supporting the channel, please consider joining us on Patreon. Patreon subscribers level tier 2 and above have access to all of my guides, as well as any future releases that come down the road. Patreon link can be found in the description below. Alright guys, so as I said, this is the WingFlex FCU panel, and it is significantly different than the WingWing FCU or the Mini FCU or FCPs. This thing is very expensive. We'll talk about the price in a minute. I'm not going to mislead you right out of the gate, though. I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to be aimed at a very particular type of simulator pilot. But let's talk about some of the benefits right out of the gates. First off, the design of the product is absolutely phenomenal. It's completely gorgeous and feels amazing right down to the touch. It uses real-world materials in order to produce the unit, and it has significantly more weight than that of its competitors. The base design and overall design and balancing of the product itself makes it very, very difficult to unintentionally move it. You have to really push on it. For example, working through any button, switch, etc. Now, even when it comes to pulling, obviously you could take your thumb and do something like that. It does have mounting capability. Let's go ahead and lift that up. You guys can see there's the base there, but it is very well balanced on its own right out of the gate. It is using a single USB there on the back, USB-C to USB 2.0. Requires very minimal power and only uses a single piece of software to operate it. Now, let's talk about what everyone's wanting to know, the price. The price for this bad boy comes in at $899 US. Now, I know that sounds absolutely insane, but stick around for a minute to find out why. We're going to have to use the WingWing FCP as a comparison. So that's going to be the WingWing FCU with the FS panels left and right combined as the best comparison, because I don't know of anyone else who has the full unit available. So with that in mind, I cannot put those two in the same category as far as quality of build. With that being said, don't go anywhere yet, because there's a lot more to talk about with that. I'm going to tell you right now that out of my own pocket, I would not purchase this, but there's a reason why. I would stick with the WingWing, but bear with me. Let's talk about what makes this thing so phenomenal. The overall etching and lighting and feel and the switches and responsiveness of the device is far superior to that of even the WingWing, which I think is very good quality for what it is. The balancing being another issue. The WingWing one tends to want to fall forward. You could bring it forward very, very easily if you wanted. So balancing the stand was something else that was thought about. The overall weight. In comparison to the weight of the WingWing, there is no comparison. This one is significantly heavier when it comes to the overall weight. But the biggest thing comes into the buttons and switches themselves. The feel of the actual actuation is so smooth. It feels like money, if that makes sense. One of the things that I've said ever since I first got into building my own computers and my own hardware was, especially with electronics, you get what you pay for. And that is not saying that any of the WingWing stuff is cheap. All right, that's not what I'm getting at all. But there is a difference in the quality and the way these feel. The WingWing, it does not feel like a toy, right? But how do I put this? The WingWing hardware feels like flight simulator equipment. This feels like it came out of the real damn aircraft. Okay, that's the best way I can describe it. This feels like they took it right out of the real plane. And over again, right down to the etching. I don't know how well that's going to relay, but I mean, I hope you guys can sort of get an idea here of how it looks. Even the switches and the actuation, like they feel different. Everything about this feels different than that of its competitors. And I'm only using the WingWing as a comparison because I have it. I have the WingWing FCU and the FS panels. The other thing that makes this thing quite phenomenal is the software that comes with it. It's a very lightweight software that seems to have absolutely no lag or delay or response issues whatsoever. It responds very, very quickly, and it works just like the other ones do with the aircraft. For example, if we were to come up top, I know you guys can't really see the sim. You can probably see it a little bit back there on the, but let's kill the external power. Boom. This goes dead, but watch how quickly it responds. Bam, and it's right back up. Okay, so the response time, the response time is significantly faster. And with that being said, even with its competitors, the software response is still pretty damn fast. Okay, but the overall actuation and the feel, they feel like money. They feel like a lot of money and a lot of design effort was put into this. This also, to my understanding, matches the real world aircraft 1-to-1 as far as the scaling goes. So who is this for, right? At $899, who is this for? This is for someone who either A, just has a lot of money and wants the best of the best, or someone who's going for as authentic of a device as possible. And I think that's why the base down here is designed the way it is. I feel like this is actually designed around the idea of making a cockpit. If you were someone who is literally building an A320 cockpit in your garage or in a shed out back or whatever it may be, this is who I believe that this would be designed for. It is an extremely high quality, extremely well thought out piece of equipment that, in my personal opinion, of all the devices that I've used and tried, especially even going to FS 2024 or the Expo 2024, there's no comparison. They don't, that I'm aware of, they don't have a competitor out for this particular device. They're the same ones who did the FMS MCDU that I have for the Boeing, which I'll be doing a second review on later this week as well, now that I've been using it for a couple months. And that, for example, I'm keeping. This, I've been given the option to purchase at discount or send back. I will be sending this one back. Now let's talk about why. We were talking about who is this for. This is, again, designed around someone who is a die-hard Airbus person, in my personal opinion. If you are not 100% die-hard, and you're not limited to like the A320, right? Most of the Airbus FCPs are going to be very similar. I mean, even the A380, it's got some differences to it, but I would imagine that you could use this with it and handle all of your standard functions perfectly fine. But like, I think 90% of the Airbus aircraft use this particular panel. So you have a wide variety of aircraft. So it comes down to, are you diehard Airbus? That's the first thing. Second thing, again, are you looking for the best of the best in the equipment? Me, as someone who is constantly switching aircraft out, switching hardware out, trying out new hardware, trying out new aircraft, going from Boeing to Airbus, back to Boeing, over to even Embraer, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't make sense for someone like me, because I could get 2 solid weeks out of this where I'm using it every day, and then it may sit in the closet for the next 4 months. Right. So for me, that kind of price point, or if you're in the same boat, in that kind of price point, it doesn't make sense. I'm not going to get that $900+ value out of a device like this. If you are someone who's building a static cockpit, that this is always going to be around, you're going to be using it very consistently, you're going to be using it nonstop, it's going to get, you're going to get that $900 cost to value out of it, then yeah, I would absolutely recommend it. If, again, assuming you can afford it too. So it is not that this doesn't have a place in the flight sim world. I do not think it is priced ridiculous. I don't think that it's overpriced. I think that it is aimed at a very specific simmer. It is aimed at someone who, as I stated, is looking for the top-notch equipment and going for as authentically built as possible. But if you are not that person, I would say any of the other competitors are the best bang for the buck. Honestly, for the average simmer, I absolutely think that WingWing has it with their current FCP and their current FCP full panel. I think they win it for the average simmer. But this, I can't stress enough, you guys. The quality, the aesthetics, the feel, right? Literally the tactile feel of everything is. It feels amazing. It feels really cool. It's like one of those things that, so little guilty pleasure here. A lot of times when I'm at work, I work from home. I do an IT job. I have this thing on the desk, and I'll just be sitting here doing things like this all day long, constantly just playing with it, just because it's just one of those devices that everything feels good. Everything feels fun to touch. And I know that may sound silly to some, but it really speaks volumes to the quality of the build when you just want to push buttons because it feels amazing. And it really does. It's really impressive, you guys. So not really much else I can say about it outside of that. Again, the software is incredibly easy to use. You literally launch the software and that's it. You don't have to do anything else. There's none of this messing with the community folder. There's no random programming or feature changes. You don't have to select the aircraft. It automatically does it. It's literally plug it in, launch the sim, launch the software. You're good to go. Done. Very, very good. Even right down to the firmware update. There's a firmware tab. You click it and it does it. If there's one, it just does it. So there's no need to fiddle with anything. So you definitely get your money's worth all the way around when it comes to it. It's just you have to ask yourself, is there enough monetary value for you to use something of this caliber? So anyways, guys, let me know what your thoughts are down below when it comes to products like this. I hope that I relayed as best I can the true quality and amazing design of this replica, and also stressed the reason of why it is at the price point that it's at. I hope it gave you guys something to think about. And again, I do not dismiss them. Again, this was not given to me. I want to stress that as well. This is not mine. I will be sending this back. Because it's out of my price point for the value that I'll get out of it. Perfect example. But it is absolutely, in my opinion, it is worth the money for the right pilot. So, guys, stay safe and healthy, and I shall see you in the next one. Peace.